Well, it's our second Halloween movie.
Our second. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Our
remember
second.
we did do Phantasm.
We did.
Our second Halloween movie. I'm pretty
That's
excited
right.
about this. I'm a big fan of this movie,
Yeah.
and I'm all ready to talk about it.
What happened to the picture?
I don't know. Something crazy.
Oh. Are we on?
No, we are on. We are on, but I don't understand what's happening here.
Uh-oh.
Some craziness. Wait,
Are you sure we're on?
I don't know. Hang on, we were on. I don't know what's going on here.
Are we on?
We are on, but I'm not really sure what's happening here. Yeah.
Oh. I'm not sure we're on.
No, we're on.
Oh. Somebody said we're on.
Yeah, we're on. We're talking. They can hear us. There we go. Well, anyway, let's start the show, shall we?
Yeah, let's.
I mean, we've been on for like 3 minutes or something.
Well, it was doing something weird.
It was doing something weird, but what can we do? So we'll start the show and we're gonna go on because that's what we do. Very excited to talk about Vampire Circus from 1972. Hammer horror. It's our first Hammer horror movie.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk a little bit about the demarcation point that we have between Hammer.
I don't.
Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, I mean, we're thinking we're having technical difficulties, but we're not. It's I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude, and of course, your sommelier of cinema. And I am here with the leader of the band, the head of the pack, the person whose show this is.
Oh. Elizabeth Gwendolyn Bell, the ace, the arbiter of cinematic excellence, and the enchantress of entertainment.
The enchantress of entertainment, and this is our second Halloween movie. This is 1972's Vampire Circus, directed by Robert Young, one of the first things he directed before becoming a big television director in the UK. And this comes from the Hammer Studios, the celebrated Hammer Studios. It was founded in the 30s, but it started to achieve great success in the 50s, 60s, and early 70s with its sci-fi, horror, thriller, noir, sometimes comedies. But they did horror films. They brought back classic characters like Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein. They brought back Dracula, of course. We have a Dracula poster in our bedroom.
Oh, yes.
Christopher Lee. They brought Christopher Lee back, Peter Cushing back. And for the first time, these classic tales were told, they were in color. And what was so great about the late 60s and early 70s Hammer horror films is that they had lots of blood and boobs.
A lot of boobs.
A lot of boobage. And
Yeah.
pretty explicit sex and violence for the time.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie has an entirely naked woman, even though she's painted to look like a leopard woman.
Yeah, it's just body paint.
But you can see her hoochie coo.
You can, and there's kids in the audience.
There's kids in the audience, so they were happy, though.
And the parents didn't seem to mind.
They didn't mind. Well, before we get started, we have a Cabernet Syrah Maison. How do you say that?
Barboulet.
Baboulet?
Barboulet.
Barboulet. Oh, there you go. And wait, hang on. We gotta let me switch the camera here, and so people can see the label. And is this a Is this a
It's
Trader
a
Joe's special?
Yes.
Well, why don't you give me your glass and I'll pour some up for you. Now, one of the things about Hammer horror
Thank you.
that, you know, for me, like I always talk about the fact that I think the demarcation point for original OGs, original geeks and newer geeks, is the OGs saw Star Wars in the movie theater. And I've always thought that, you know, I've heard a lot from modern horror fans that they don't dig Hammer horror because it's fairly antiquated. As much as there's boobs and blood.
Can't you like both? Why do you have to pick one or the other?
Well, I think, you know, these are more classical in terms of their spacing, and they're not the way they're shot. Well, I agree with you. I adore Hammer horror.
I think that's just a handful of people.
There's a lot. The Quatermass movies are Hammer. So, but this is one of my favorite Hammer movies. It's not like the Karnstein Vampire Trilogy, which is Lust for a Vampire, it's the Vampire Lovers, Lust for a Vampire, and Twins of Evil, the Karnstein Vampire Trilogy, which is quite good. Then the Hammer Dracula films and with Christopher Lee. But this is a standalone movie, and it's a tale unto itself, and it's set in Serbia.
Really?
Yeah.
When did they say that?
Well, it's in the Serbian village of Štetl, in the early part of the.
I thought it was Germany.
No, Serbian village of Štetl in the early 19th century.
Štetl is not a Serbian.
Well,
name.
I'm just telling you, it is a Serbian village.
Okay, it sounded very German to me.
So,
I mean, even look at their names. Albert Mueller. That's very German.
I understand, and his wife Anna. Well, we should. Let me ask you.
Those are all German names.
Okay, I don't know what to tell you, babe. I'm just telling you. I know the movie was set in Serbia in the early part of the 19th century.
That thing's wrong.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you.
Is that like Wikipedia?
Yeah. Why you selling me out that way?
Because it's wrong.
It's not wrong. Here, let's drink to Vampire Circus for our second Halloween movie. I love this movie. You'd never seen this movie before.
No.
What did you think of it?
I really enjoyed this movie.
You really? Now, why did you enjoy it?
Because I love these old, quirky, interesting.
And this movie has a lot of stuff in it.
It has a lot of stuff.
I mean, it starts out in the Serbian village of Štetl in the early part of the 19th century. And, yeah, you have Albert Mueller, who is a schoolmaster.
Not a Serbian name.
Witnesses his wife, and there's a girl playing in the woods. And his wife, takes this girl.
She lures this little girl into the castle.
Into the castle of Count Mitterhaus.
Yeah.
And
he runs after her and starts banging on the door, but it's too late. She already took her inside.
And what's awesome about this movie is, so Albert Mueller's wife, Albert's kind of the ultimate cuck, because his wife is having an affair with Count Mitterhaus, who is a vampire. She has no problem with the fact he's one of the undead, because as we see,
she thinks it's sexy. It turns her on.
It turns her on. I mean, he is clearly knows what to do, and he's not like an old vampire. He's like a sexy European count.
Do they not age? Like, they don't age.
That's true, but he looks young and sexy and virile. And what I love about this movie is this movie begins in the first 5 minutes.
Within the first 5 minutes, you have a child abduction.
Yeah, Anna takes her, and Count Mitterhaus drinks her blood and just straight up murders a little girl.
Straight up murders this little girl, and it's really creepy because it seems like very kind of sexual, and it's like, what the hell is this?
Well, it's European. They can get away with these things.
But luckily, he only sucks her blood. Luckily.
And then, not only does he suck her blood, but then Anna and him, get it on.
Yeah, it turns her on.
He murders a kid.
Sucking this little girl's blood turns her on.
And for 1972, copious boobage.
Tons of boobs.
And they get away with a lot. It's insinuated there's a lot of oral action happening here. There's a lot of
this
stuff.
Slow, kind of trippy, bound chicka bound.
Yeah, there's a lot of surrealism here.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of there's a lot of opticals, there's a lot of bats that are clearly not very convincing.
Yeah, I love that part.
But there's animated bats. It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
So then the townspeople, Mueller comes back and gets the townspeople, everybody that lives in Štetl, all the men of the town, because apparently kids have been disappearing.
Yeah, there are several kids missing.
Yeah, she's like the latest in a litany of kids.
Yeah, so he runs over to where I guess they were hunting or something. I don't know. All the men are there, and he's like, your child is missing, your child is now missing, because he didn't even know she was gone. I mean, she was just abducted.
Right.
So, he's like, we have to go to the castle and kill the Count. And they're like, we can't kill the Count. He's like, yeah, he's a vampire, and or did he say he's a vampire at that point?
Yeah, I mean, they're saying he's a vampire, but and the men kind of believe it,
Yeah, they're not sure.
They're not sure, but it's in Serbia and it's the early part of the 19th century, so
Germany.
It happens. So they all storm the gates, and they bring all kinds of gunpowder and flammable stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a battle with Count Mitterhaus.
They storm the castle, and they find, what happens? He appears, or they see the child, the dead girl.
And he's down in the crypt, he's underneath. He's
Yeah, but then he appears in the room.
Yeah, and then he
appears in the room, and then he goes after them, and the teacher manages to kill him with a stake through the heart. And then his wife, who's hiding behind the bed, still completely naked.
God love her.
She is... She just can't believe that her lover has been murdered.
No, and then they like throw her over the shoulder. They grab her.
And then her husband takes his shirt off and puts it on her, and they grab her and drag her outside.
They drag her outside as they're putting the gunpowder and they're burning down.
Yes, all these explosions and stuff, and the whole castle. Well, not yet, because they whip her. So they have this line, and everyone's whipping her, and then her husband has compassion for her and tells them to stop. So then she runs into the castle.
Yeah, she escapes
from
them.
Spits at him. Like, he saves her from being beaten.
She spits on her own husband.
She spits on him and then runs back into the castle. And they're like, just let her go. And then they're going to burn the whole castle down.
Yeah, and then she goes and finds him.
She drags him down to the crypt in the basement and puts him in his coffin, which was super cool. And the crypt is all full of...
With the big stake coming out of him. And the castle burns down, and you don't know what happens.
Well, he does come alive for 1 second to tell her to go to his cousin, Emil, to the vampire circus and to get Emil's help. And also, he says to everyone that they're all cursed and they're all going to die, and all their children are going to die, to revive him.
Yes.
That he'll be back.
He'll be back.
And so then the castle burns down, and she's sent away to go find Emil, and
Emil is presumably another vampire.
Yeah, because
and then then the credits, the vampire circus credit comes on, and they show you the passage of time.
Yeah.
By what the different seasons pass in the rubble of the castle, and then it's 15 years later.
Yeah. 15 years later.
And the town of Shtetl is gripped with plague.
Yes, people are sick.
People are sick. People are dying of plague. And
the neighboring villages are freaked out, so they have blocked all entrances to the village. No one's allowed out. No one's allowed in. And the doctor doesn't know what to do because he doesn't have the right medicine, so he devises a plan.
Well, there's a new doctor. A younger doctor who has a son.
Yeah.
And the new doctor is Dr. Kirsch.
He's not that young.
Well, no, because but he's got a son. But he's not as old as he wasn't there 15 years ago.
Right.
And the townspeople are like, this is the curse. This is the curse Count Mitterhouse put on us. It's come back to haunt us. And Dr. Kirsch is like, vampires aren't real. There's no.
It's a plague. It's just a disease. We need to eradicate it. I just need to get the right medication. But they're like, you can't get out. And then he devises a plan with his son.
They're gonna
to distract the guards so that he can go to the town and get the right medicine.
And the son is in love with Dora.
Dora, who is the daughter of Anna, the adulteress, and the teacher,
Dr. Mueller.
From
the beginning. Now she's grown up and she's a hottie.
Yeah, but you don't see her yet because she has gone to town. She lives in town right now.
Well, yes, but she was sent away. So she got past the roadblock, so she's living away. She's out of town.
Yeah, I think that she left before they blocked everything off.
Yeah.
So she's not. She lives in the big town.
She lives in the big town, and then suddenly, unbeknownst, they don't understand how this happened, but a circus comes to town. Somehow a circus has got past the roadblock.
Right, and they're like, how did you get in?
The Circus of Night.
The Circus of Night.
Led by a gypsy woman.
Yes.
And a dwarf.
Yep.
And a pre-Darth Vader David Prowse is the strong man of the circus. David Prowse is the actor who was Vader. Didn't do the voice, but performed Vader.
Right.
He was also in A Clockwork Orange. So is Adrienne Corey, the gypsy woman. She was also in Clockwork Orange.
She looked familiar. I was like, why did I know this woman?
So there's a Clockwork Orange reunion happening. And the circus captivates the town that's gripped with plague.
Right. I mean, they need a distraction from, everyone dying, and they're so scared because the village is cursed, and so they kind of welcome this circus.
And the circus has a monkey.
There's a monkey,
It's got
and
a leopard, a
tiger,
tiger.
and a black leopard.
Black leopard, and there's twins, these boys, this mysterious twins.
Yes, they're very weird.
And then there's the ringmaster, who's the dwarf. Mm-hmm. He's got a painted face, but he can also peel up the painted face, and there's another painted face underneath. And Adrian Corey, the mysterious gypsy woman who runs this. It's her circus.
Yeah.
And then there is Emil,
who. Well.
We can say it.
Okay, so he's the leopard, and
Emil is a shapeshifter.
Yes.
He is Count Mitterhaus's cousin.
Which I didn't know this about vampires. Did you?
Well, I think they can play a little fast and loose with the lore. It's kind of a combination of vampires and cat people.
Right.
Like the movie Cat People. It's and why not? Vampires can transform.
I liked it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, and Emil is like Count Mitterhaus. Emil is even sexier.
Yeah.
Total Eurotrash sexy. Total Eurotrash. He's got Eurotrash hair, but he's got that very handsome debonair face.
Yeah, except when he stares, like when he was staring at that girl, Rosa, or whatever her name was, he seemed really weird. He had a weird
Well, he is a
look on
creature
his
of
face.
the night.
I don't know. It was creepy.
Well, it's supposed to be
It's
creepy.
supposed to be creepy.
So if you're creeped out by Emil's lecherous nature,
Yeah.
I would say that he's doing his job.
Right. Right.
And so the circus has lots of interesting acts, and Emil, they have the leopard come out, and then the leopard leaps, and then
It turns into
Emil like mid.
Yeah.
And like there's all this supernatural shit happening right in front of these people, but they're like, wow, you guys are really good. You're good musicians,
yeah, they
magicians.
think, oh, this is great magic.
Yeah, this is terrific magic. You guys are awesome. Like the leopard leaps and turns into Emil.
Turns into Emil.
And then Emil immediately takes a shine to one of the daughters of.
He wants to suck her blood.
Yeah.
Rosa, I think her name is.
Yeah, Rosa. That's right. And then of course when the circus, the Burgermeister of the town, that's his daughter. So the Burgermeister and his wife are put up front and center at the circus, and of course they have the haughty daughter. And Emil, when he
she was a little strange looking.
Well, she is a little strange looking, but what do you get in these movies? So, but Emil, when he transforms into a person he makes a beeline straight to her.
Yes.
And like he's looking at her and completely seducing her with his eyes.
Absolutely.
And then that night, after the first performance, Emil takes Rosa, like into one of the
right,
and like has his way with her.
Yeah,
Boom,
and he's
chicka,
about
boom,
to
bang.
like chomp down on her, and what is her name?
Rosa.
No, the
gypsy woman.
Yeah.
We don't know her name.
Oh.
The gypsy woman comes in and goes, "Not time yet.
It's not time.
Not time yet." So clearly, the Circus of Night has a plan.
They have a plan.
And it's clear early on, we're not spoiling anything, that this is all part of Count Mitterhaus's. This is what he wanted.
This is the plan.
Like they have come.
It's Cousin Emil.
It's Cousin Emil. They have come to kill everybody in town and destroy the children.
And
revive Count Mitterhaus.
Yes.
That's what the Vampire Circus is there to do.
Yep.
And
Yep.
So then, one of the next days, the dwarf says to some members, a family in town, like, "Hey, I can get you past the roadblock."
Oh, right.
And takes them into the woods.
Yes.
And he goes, "Hey, you've come past the roadblock."
Yeah.
And then he leaves them.
He does.
And then Emil, in the form of the Panther, shows up, and for 1972, eviscerates this family.
It's brutal.
It is brutal, and no punches pulled. So not only do you get boobs, you get great violence.
Right, and the only thing that didn't seem realistic, which is good because it could have been like super over the top gory, is that the blood is like too bright red, which I appreciated, because otherwise, if the blood was real, with all that destroying of those humans,
Evisceration of the human body.
it would have been way intense.
Well, I think it's funny when like Quentin Tarantino, you love, of course, Kill Bill.
Love
And
Kill
one
Bill.
of the things about Kill Bill is that Quentin Tarantino liked specific blood that was made for certain Chinese movies and certain Japanese movies.
Yeah.
So he actually has different blood in throughout the film, but hammer blood, even Alex in Clockwork Orange says blood doesn't look, it looks the most red when you see it on the screen. So I really like the hammer horror blood. I liked it
too.
As the viceroy of verisimilitude, people would say, come on, Rob, it's not, there is no verisimilitude with this kind of blood.
But I appreciate that it didn't look like real blood.
But I think it adds to the whole charm
of the
hammer horror.
Absolutely.
And I like the fact that in this, what's really interesting about, there's a lot of sexuality in Hammer movies, but they don't judge it. It's not like Puritan. It's Europeans. Like, yeah, man, you can just you can hook up with a vampire, and it's like expected. And what's great is like when Rosa comes back, she has this interesting interlude
with her
mother, and her mother's like, "I know you've done this before."
Yeah, she's like, "Mom," she's like pleading with her, "Let me go out again. I want to see this guy again." And
like, there's no one's really concerned about being a virgin in this town, and neither are the Vampire Circus. These guys, I mean. Yeah. Emil's like, I don't care if you're a virgin. I just want to get busy, and then I'm going to eat you. And I mean, I think it's that's what I love about these films, because when I was younger watching, and by the way, it wasn't until I got this movie on Laserdisc that the Animal Woman, like, it had been censored, that you could see her hoochie coo.
Yeah.
You know, because on TV you couldn't, but it's clear.
Oh, did they blur it out on TV?
Oh, yeah, it was blurred out, or it was edited around.
What about her breasts?
I mean, all that. It was you couldn't see any of that. So when I first had this movie on Laserdisc, it was like a revelation. I'm like, oh my God. You know, because you didn't get to see, there was no nipplage on TV. You got no nipplage.
Oh.
And
would they just like blur it out?
Yeah, they'd blur it out, or they would zoom in, blow into the frame. So it wasn't until home video when they started uncensoring, when you see these things, when, you know, I was like, my God. But even when you didn't, when you were a kid, the blood and the boobs, I mean, you're like looking around the frame, like maybe I can see actually around the frame and get some nipplage, even though you couldn't. But with Hammer, even as a kid, I'm like, oh, wait, can I see over the frame? But watching these movies now, they're pretty risque. I mean, you don't even see, like, modern films have been sort of modern horror. But these are erotic horror, and sex and death went hand in hand.
Yeah.
And like they would take the hottest girls, and they would have no problem just straight up killing them.
It's funny how now the violence has gotten way more intense, but that's okay. But the sex part is not okay.
Right,
showing breasts is not okay.
No, I mean that's
strange.
Yeah, you can't. Paul Verhoeven told me that when I met him at the Seattle Film Festival.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't understand how in America you can kill anybody you want in the most graphic ways possible, but you can't show sex. You know, there's no sexuality.
That's so sad. What does that say about American
Well, it's like
society?
what we did to the Japanese. Like Japanese porn, a lot of Japanese porn, nudity, you can't show pubic hair. So even now, they'll blur out. You'll see some Japanese pornography and Japanese films will have... It'll be blurry because we had it written into their constitution after World War II or something like that.
In Japan?
Yeah. So American, the puritanical impulse, like, I don't understand, because horror is so inextricably linked to sex and death. You know, you portraying those two things. It's so weird that, like, in America we're still winking and giggling with sexuality.
Yeah.
And this movie really has, I mean, the sexuality in it is pretty extreme. Like, you know, there's no one gets judged for fucking in this movie. The mother's like, I understand you're a wild girl, you like to get it on. I just want you to be happy, though.
Yep.
But
she does. She just lets her go out.
But one of the things that I like about this movie, on one hand, it's sort of charming. Like the idea of the I mean, it's totally old school in the portrait.
Yeah.
I mean, the vampires, they go.
I know, I love it.
Oh, it's the best.
I love it.
You know, these are not the Hunger. This is not David Bowie and Catherine Deneuve. You know, this is classical vampirism at its finest. Just like, these are not Twilight vampires. They get big giant fangs, and before they bite somebody, they have to open their mouths wide and go
really wide. Love it.
And they hiss.
And Emil, his eyes even roll back into his head.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is classical storybook vampirism.
Awesome.
But coupled with the fact that there's Emil likes to get on down with the ladies before, and so did Count Mitterhouse.
Yeah. Well, like the Count said, he said, what did he say? He killed the girl, and he said, "Oh, one desire fuels the other."
Yeah. That's right, because people have always there's the eternal debate amongst horror fans is, do vampires fuck?
Of course they do.
I think they do too, because especially when they drink blood,
Yeah.
they're fully functional. They're units
I
in
mean,
gorge.
the blood. Yeah.
And the Hammer horror films, those vampires they're fuckers, literally and figuratively. They fuck, and that's why I like Hammer horror, because that shit goes down, literally and figuratively. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, but it's fun to see that. I mean, it's why
Is
are
it
you
fun to see that?
It is fun to see that. You got to watch the Karnstein trilogy. You've got to watch Vampire Lovers, Twins of Vampire Lovers, Lust for. I mean, they made a movie. It's the Karnstein trilogy. The middle film is called Lust for a Vampire. I mean, then you had John Rowland over in France making his lesbian vampire movies. You had Daughters of Darkness. I mean, the early 70s was peak nude women, buxom breasts, lesbianism, vampirism, death, and sex, and it was awesome. and as a child, as a young boy, 10 years old, 11 years old, I have to say, God love all of these filmmakers, because now we live in some weird, sexless, bizarre world where, apparently, I mean, I would imagine I imagine a 12-year-old boy lecturing me about how sexist it is that Hammer films, that's just your old cis white male programming. It's rapey, and you shouldn't treat women the way they treat women in Hammer horror movies. And I'm like, well, kid, I weep for the future that you're gonna grow up in. But let me just tell you. But now, how did you feel about that? Like the extreme violence and the sex, the combination of the two. Did that bother you? Was it titillating for you?
I mean,
Did you get turned
it's
on by it?
old school.
Turned on?
I mean, I don't know about turned on, but
Did the vampires turn you on though when they're like?
I thought it was cool.
Okay, well, that's good.
I don't know if it
Good.
turned
You think
me
it was
on.
cool? So there's lots of shenanigans, lots of blood and fire and brimstone, and Dr. Kirsch's son, Dora sneaks back into town,
which I don't know why she did that.
Well, because she wants to be with her father.
She wants to be with Anton.
And Anton, the
son of the doctor.
Right, the son of the doctor.
Yeah.
And there's an awesome scene where Dora comes across the carnage that Emil has wrought.
Right.
And finds the dead bodies, and it's hardcore.
It is hardcore.
I mean, and she's sitting right by him.
And she has to lay there with the dead bodies because the guards are looking for her.
Mm-hmm. And, she covers one up with a blanket she has with her.
Uh-huh.
She's still, leaning against this dead, fetid carcass. I mean, it's great. They don't pull punches. And I watch these movies and I'm reminded of what it was like, because as a kid watching them, even though I saw them on TV, I felt like I was seeing something forbidden. Even though it was on, this is the closest thing to forbidden fruit that I saw on TV before I had a VCR.
So would they show all that goriness on TV?
No, it was all edited.
Okay.
But there was enough of it that you felt like it was. But when I started Hammer horror films, more than any other films, when I started seeing them in their original versions on home video, I was like, oh my God. I felt so robbed. I'm like, how come when I was 12 years old I didn't get to see this? I would have, I feel, but now that's what home video is.
Yeah.
Don May, I believe, I think it was Synapse that put this out, the beautiful Blu-ray, the transfer. Mm-hmm. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so where were we?
So Dora
comes back. And her father's really happy to see her.
Oh, we should say that the Burgermeister was lured into.
Oh yes.
The gypsy woman. They have the funhouse mirror room, the mirror of life.
Mirror of life.
And the Burgermeister comes in and he's sees,
laughing because it's like a distortion, like 3 of them, and then he comes to the last mirror.
And there's no distortion.
And he's like, "What's this?"
And suddenly Count Mitterhouse appears.
Yeah, he
And
sees himself with the Count, and the Count
in the
is
mirror.
like, yeah,
and he's
got a hold of him.
completely shocked like this. And so, I mean, this is how the mirror room seduces people. You don't want to be in there, and
it's actually a portal into the crypt.
The crypt.
But he doesn't bring the Burgermeister in there yet. Or doesn't.
No, but the Burgermeister's encounter has left him shaken.
He's messed up.
He's messed up. And I mean, as the movie goes along, the vampire circus wreaks more havoc. These two twin boys are lured in there.
It's a boy and a girl. Oh no, those are two little boys.
Yeah, two little boys. They get lured in there
by the twins.
By the twins, and now they're like an adjunct, like they're the Wonder Twins, boy and a girl.
Yeah.
Vampire Wonder Twins that transform into bats and fly around.
And they are the twins. They are the children of the gypsy.
The gypsy woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is Anna.
Which is Anna.
We don't know that, but we yes, Anna from the beginning. Dr. Kirsch's.
Yeah.
Or not Dr. Kirsch's son, the Dr. Mueller from the beginning.
Mueller, the teacher.
The teacher.
His wife, the one that lured a child into.
Yeah, she's actually the gypsy woman.
Somehow she transforms her face, but she's still a human, so I don't know how she did that.
Well, no, because she's clearly got she's been imbued with some kind of, I mean, I'm sure her and Emil got it on at some point.
Probably Emil did that for her.
Yeah, Emil probably bit her, but that made her a familiar or something and didn't bleed her out and turned her into one of them, because she's got the power of transformation.
Well, I think he just transformed her.
Either way, it's just awesome that she's. But I mean, you got multiple kids like they straight up kill these two
they
boys.
Do.
Straight up kill these two boys that they've set up as being like nice boys.
Yeah, good little boys.
Good little boys.
They're just curious about the circus, and
Dora comes back, and also Emil kills Rosa. The daughter, the precocious daughter that got on, just straight up kills her too.
He takes her into the crypt and kills her right on top of the Count.
And there is this kind of goofy optical, this like where you see these drops of blood on Mitterhouse.
Right,
and they keep playing
on his chest.
And it's like they immediately get sucked in. Whenever a little drop of blood, they use the same. I mean, Hammer horror movies are low budget. Yeah. You know, they most of them were shot at Bray Studios around the same house or whatever, and their low budget nature is like verisimilitude's not high on the agenda.
Yeah.
But it's charming.
It is charming.
You know, and it's like people that like going to haunted houses for Halloween.
I love that.
This is like going to a haunted house.
Yes.
And it's got that kind of feel. Like if you give yourself over to you could sit there, and I think the problem with modern audiences, especially modern horror fans, is they're not used to giving themselves over to this kind of there's a quaint bit, and I think that that quaintness is off-putting to people. So what are you trying to do?
I'm trying to move this so I can see.
Oh,
it's weird.
No, we can.
I don't want to mess it up though. No, it's not working. Well,
hold on. I'll see what I can.
That's okay.
Okay, we can see up there.
Yeah.
So the townspeople are a cadre of guys that were there 15 years ago. They're starting to plot, like they realize people are dying. We've got to make a last stand. We got to kill the Circus of Night.
Yeah.
And all these shenanigans, and they do that. I mean, they basically go to war.
Yeah, the vampire's plan is to kill Dora, and they say that Dora's the one who's going to actually revive the Count.
Right.
And Dora is Anna's daughter.
Right.
Which is she's the gypsy woman. So Dora is her daughter. But she also has these twins, which she probably was impregnated by the Count.
Yeah.
Before
that's what I like. The twins. Yeah, the twins.
So they're half siblings.
Yeah, they're half siblings.
And they try to kill her, but she's wearing a crucifix, and they freak out.
Yeah, they freak out. And then they bring out the classic crucifix action.
They do.
And I mean, there's lots of shenanigans and back and forth.
Yeah, and they chase her into a church, a chapel, and she climbs up to get away from them and is walking across this beam, and there's a giant crucifix up there, and her half sister freaks out, and she pushes it over, and it just like skewers her.
Oh, it's great.
And then the twin dies too because they're connected.
That's great.
It is.
And then there's basically a last stand. I mean, there's a big battle with with the vampire circus, and then they like. There's like 20 townspeople that wind up in the crypt or whatever. And there's this big battle, and people are just slaughtered.
Yeah, so many
they're
people.
Straight up just massacred.
Emil kills a bunch of people, and then they're trying to kill Dora, and her mother, the gypsy woman, pulls off her crucifix so that they could suck her blood. And then Emil's about to, and she changes her mind, because it's her daughter, and she moves her out of the way, and he ends up, sinking his teeth into the gypsy woman, and as she's dying, she turns back into Anna.
She turns back into young Anna.
Yeah.
And then, with all the shenanigans, you have the Dora and her paramour, the son of Dr. Kirk.
Yeah, Anton, he comes.
And they're basically there, and Count Mitterhaus is revived.
Right, they kill off Emil. And then they think they're okay. They're all hugging each other. Oh, we're okay. Oh, and even her dad dies.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people die. Most of the characters.
I mean, tons of people are dead.
They're dead.
And then they think they're okay, but then the Count comes alive.
He comes alive, and then they finally take him out too.
Yeah.
They kill the Count. So
he slices his head off with the
crucifix, with the crossbow.
The crossbow, which has a cross at the top of it.
Yeah, the metal cross, which is great.
But then he puts the crossbow over his head, and when he pulls back on the string.
And what's great is in Hammer Horror, again, straight up cutting his head off, it bounces into his crypt.
Yeah.
But theoretically, that it's a little fast and loose because you didn't stake him through the heart. You cut his head off.
Yeah, but you cut his head off.
I guess that means it can't refuse. I guess Count Mitterhaus
How?
is
If
dead.
his body's on the other side of the room.
I don't know.
No.
All right. Well,
I think if you
he's
sever.
dead.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. What did you think of this movie? I mean, you'd never really seen a Hammer Horror film before.
No, I haven't.
This is one of my favorites. And I like it because of the gothic pulp sensibility. It's so much fun. It's got who doesn't like an evil the idea of an evil circus when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Is the greatest thing ever. Because I did go to the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, and the idea that vampires run a circus, that's like
I love that idea. I love that premise so much. I mean, come on, a vampire circus?
It's the best.
Circus is creepy to begin with.
Like, if I could remake a modern film I would love to remake this movie.
Oh my God, that'd be so fun.
I would remake this movie.
Yes.
And you'd make it like, Ringling Brothers, because now, they're cruel to animals, so the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus went away, and this would be the last circus in America.
You want it set in modern day?
Yeah, modern day.
Okay.
And you play the same beats. You change it, but it's like what I was talking about about Phantasm, how Stephen King took horror out of the mountains of Carpathia or Romania or Shtetl in Serbia. The classical old school. And then we have horror put into suburbia, like in Phantasm.
Yeah.
But this is a complete throwback to classical horror, olden times.
Then it should be Cirque du Soleil.
Well, but Cirque du Soleil. Well, you could.
There's some creepy ones, like the whole. What is the one? I forgot the name of it, but it was all about death, and it was.
But Cirque du Soleil is already creepy. Too cool for school. Like everybody loves.
That's why it'd be great.
Yeah, but maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think because I already expect Cirque du Soleil to be filled with vampires, like modern vampires, like the Hunger vampires,
of course
like
it is.
Bowie and Catherine Deneuve. Like they're all in Vegas. They're only performing at night. During the day, everybody sleeps.
That's
so
right.
Cirque du Soleil is already vampires, and maybe that's your
It's
thing.
already vampires.
Maybe the Cirque du Soleil is. That's why they're so great at performing, is because they use their supernatural powers
That's
to
right.
flip around.
To
So
do
that's
all the crazy. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So
they
that's
really are vampires.
yeah. That's what's really going on.
That is what's going
The Cirque
on.
du Soleil, they're vampires,
They
which
are.
means that to make a movie about them as the Vampire Circus is like old school. That would be like
Wow.
redundant.
The way you think, it's amazing.
Well, you can't, because people would be like, well, why are you making a movie about Cirque du Soleil as vampires? Of course, aren't they vampires?
What,
Like,
is that everyone
they're
believes
already
that
vampires?
Cirque du Soleil is vampires?
And of course, the HBO series Carnival dealt with supernatural and
Yeah, but that was not vampires.
no, but I mean, it's almost
Is that
old.
the one that I used to call Fairytopia?
No, Fairytopia is Carnival Row.
Right.
Carnival. Elizabeth called Carnival Row
Fairytopia. I could never think of the name.
Fairytopia, right?
You called it Fairytopia.
Are we gonna watch Fairytopia? Yes, we will.
When's
yeah,
the next season of Fairytopia?
I don't know. I mean, I heard they're shooting it again.
Oh, awesome.
But we liked Fairytopia.
it.
It's not perfect, but it's good. I like
Nothing's perfect, but who cares?
Fairytopia, Vampiretopia. But I mean I can't.
That's the name of our movie.
But the
Vampiretopia.
problem now is vampires are so played out.
You gotta
whether
do it
it's
in a fresh way.
I know, but it's hard. It's hard. I mean, vampires, man.
Vampires.
Every iteration of vampires
No,
has been done
because
to
lately,
death.
okay, yeah, in the 80s and 90s it was vampires, and then it's been zombies forever.
No, we got
and
Twilight.
now we got to go back to vampires.
Well, and the thing about vampires
Twilight
is,
was an anomaly.
well, no, but I look, I love vampires, but you got vampires are sensual creatures.
Yeah.
They're all about seduction, and I've talked about this before on my show. Eroticism is gone.
Okay, we have to do this month. That Swedish vampire movie.
Let the right one in.
Oh my god.
Yeah. No, we should do that.
I love that movie.
That's I love that too. I have both versions of it. I have the American remake.
I haven't seen the American remake.
Yeah, no, we should only the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a really interesting.
See, that's a good new fresh take on vampires.
Mhm. No, we'll do that. Let the right one in. We'll do that. Yeah. Our next movie is, of course, Black Sunday.
Right. We
That'll-
were supposed to do the double, but
Yeah, but we can't. It's
I
too...
just didn't have time to watch two movies.
I know. Busy. That's okay. I mean, maybe we'll do it. It's Zoe's birthday tomorrow, so we're going to be busy. So we can't do the show tomorrow.
Right.
But Monday we'll do Black Sunday.
Okay.
You'll love Black Sunday. Again, period.
Should we do a double bill on Monday?
Well, but the problem is then you have to watch two movies until we could get more movies in. I mean, it would be interesting to do a movie like Black Sunday and maybe Jean Rollins, like The Living Dead Girl or Fascination or something like that.
Okay.
The funny
I don't
thing
know
is
those
we've
movies.
been sent movies. People send us a lot of movies, and the question becomes like, do we go and watch movies that, like, for us to do Hellraiser or Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween?
We should mix it up though.
No, we should. But everybody's seen those movies a million times. and-
Yeah, but they want to hear us talk about it, and I haven't seen all those movies, honestly. I've seen Hellraiser, but I haven't seen, what was the other one you said?
Nightmare on Elm Street. You've seen
I
that?
have not.
Come on.
Nope. Haven't seen it.
You're telling me you've never seen the original Nightmare on Elm Street?
Nope.
Come on.
No.
With Johnny Depp
Nope.
and Heather Langenkamp?
No. I haven't seen any of those ones that everybody has seen. I haven't seen them.
Have you seen the original Friday the 13th?
No. No.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding.
Now there's going to be some craziness.
I haven't seen any of those.
Well, that's nuts. Wow. All right, well, then what were your thoughts? I mean, having watched Vampire Circus, overall, what'd you think of the movie?
I thought it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
You did enjoy it.
Yeah.
Would you watch other? Are you curious now to see other Hammer horror movies?
Yeah, totally.
Because I have a lot.
Yeah. I would like to see more.
All right.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's scary.
No, it's not scary.
It's not scary.
I mean, it was scary when I was 10,
right.
but
Because I scare easily.
But no, there's nothing scary because you're watching. It's almost like you're looking at a storybook.
Right.
I mean, a storybook, a great storybook for me because there's boobs and blood. So that's the kind of storybook. But
fairy tales, old fairy tales are frightening.
No, Grimm's tales are grim.
They're frightening.
But I do feel like I think the problem is with a lot of modern audiences going back and watching these movies. They are so quaint. They feel antiquated. As much as they might have blood and boobs, they still feel like you're basically watching almost like an illustrated storybook.
Yes.
You know, I even love the music.
Yeah.
You know, the music, these lush scores that they telegraph the feelings, but it's so. I love seeing them. I love seeing them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. We have a letter. We have it's a great letter, but it's a long letter, and I'm going to read it. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have a letter, and this comes from Philip Alvarez. Philip Alvarez says, "Greetings, Rob, Liz, and fellow imagination connoisseurs. I was pleased when my letter was read on WINEning episode 80. Now that you know horror is my favorite genre, it makes this letter easier to write. Here's the main reason why I know Rob loves to read these sorts of letters. Should I start by saying what my favorite movie in the genre is? Well, that's easy. It's The Exorcist. Mine too. Great minds think alike. Another I'd add to the list of perfect films. Totally agree. But the films I appreciate the most are that of the slasher. Freddy Krueger being my all-time favorite. I think that Philip Alvarez, that means you're going to watch Nightmare on Elm Street. Being my all-time favorite. Well, yeah. But Freddy Krueger is, of all the slasher series, the Nightmare on Elm Street series is by far the best. Because it's also got a huge fantasy component to it.
Okay.
Where Freddy Krueger is a fantasy creature. It's not like Jason Voorhees. Freddy Krueger being my all-time favorite icon especially. There's also Jason, Michael, Leatherface, and Chucky. For most of my childhood and teens, those are the top dogs to me. Even at 10 years old, I had a Freddy poster on my wall. My mom hated it, and my friends did as well going into my room. Heck, I couldn't even place my bed anywhere near it. A couple of years later, a friend of mine introduced me to a real-life horror icon, Stephen King, and I was immediately hooked. He had all of his books, and we watched all the movies based on them, like Carrie, The Shining, Christine, Cujo, etc. Unlike the slashers I grew up adoring, I became more fascinated by King's work because they were more urban-oriented. I felt they could happen in the real world. Well, maybe not it, but that's another discussion. I remember seeing Misery in the theaters, and so awestruck by it, I just had to read the book. Yes, I'm not much of a reader. I ended up doing a book report on it. My teacher was surprised I picked it. Nevertheless, I got an A.
Oh, good.
Now, y'all might be asking, well, what else do I love about horror? The simple answer is, I love it all. Prepping for this letter made me realize that, like science fiction, horror has many subgenres. Movies like Alien, Predator, and Terminator, yes, I think the first one has horror elements, it does, are a combination of both. You have the monster genre, Universal, Wolfman, a personal fave, the vampire genre, the creature genre, the zombie genre, the supernatural genre, the psychological genre, and the paranormal genre, the demonic devil genre, and so on. I'm pretty sure I named one from the different genres on my recommendations list. Now, there was about a 5-year period in the early 90s where the horror genre lost some of its appeal and I began to become discouraged. What has happened to my beloved genre? I personally blame the psychosexual thriller craze at the time. Don't get me wrong, as Campia would say, bring on the filthy. Basic Instinct and Sliver are two personal favorites, by the way. I was worried horror had become almost non-existent, like the Western. That is, until a little movie which came out in December 1996 called Scream.
I saw Scream.
Now I'd like to interject. Philip is absolutely correct. And what's really interesting about Scream is it is a horror send-up. It's a horror parody.
Yeah.
But it's also a great straight-up horror movie.
Yeah, it was scary.
And it does both. And that was something that was amazing. And it doesn't get enough credit for that. People think it's like a send-up, but it's not. The first Scream is a really legit horror movie.
Yeah, it's scary.
The movie is, of course, directed by Wes Craven, creator of my horror BFF, Freddy Krueger, and has gloriously saved the horror genre. A movie that satirized the genre in a clever and meta way. Audiences loved the film and introduced many unknown to the genre. All the movies still hold up well today, even with knowing the twists. I'm looking forward to Scream 5. No, it's called just Scream now, just like Halloween was called just Halloween, the new one. Especially in the hands of directors who made Ready or Not, a film I had a blast watching. I loved Ready or Not. Heading into the new millennium, my beloved genre started to become a little more creative. We were introduced to a movie where the villain is unseen, death itself, the movie's final destination. A franchise known for its well-crafted suspense and elaborate death scenes. The franchise could have easily overstayed its welcome, but ended up going full circle with the final installment. A rarity for the genre. After that, horror was introduced to a new genre called J-horror, remakes of horror films with the movie The Ring, genuinely creepy and well-made, especially for a PG-13 rating. I love the remake of The Ring, it's fantastic. Other horror remakes followed, like The Grudge, The Eye, One Missed Call, etc. Yet, as is typical by Hollywood standards, eventually they became stale and died out. I still appreciate them today, however, as any horror buff should. Then something crazy happened that I wasn't happy with at first. Hollywood began to remake the very films I grew up with. I wasn't happy about this either. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Dawn of the Dead, Prom Night, Amityville Horror, Poltergeist, and The Omen. The only good one, in my opinion, or the only good ones, in my opinion, were the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Dawn of the Dead. The Elm Street one was, say it with me now, blasphemy. Others I enjoyed, though, were Evil Dead, The Crazies, and Fright Night. You know what? The Crazies remake is really, really good. Evil Dead was pretty good, but I have not seen the Fright Night remake, and everybody keeps, because I love Fright Night, and everyone keeps telling me to watch it, so perhaps we should watch it. Maybe we should. I became worried, though, once again, with the cliche, you're ruining my childhood. I realized a lot of the mentioned films were spread out over the years, but just showing my annoyance with these remakes. Another craze that worried me about horror was the found footage film. Forgive me being a bit controversial on my own favorite genre, but I find Blair Witch to be overrated and uninspiring. That's my attitude for the majority of these kind of films. I just find them all very boring and not scary at all. And don't get me started on the Paranormal Activity franchise. Phew! Okay, slight ran over. Now we head back to the year 2004, and yet another subgenre is added to the list. Torture porn horror, a term I personally don't care for. I've heard James Wan himself hates it as well. Wan, of course, directed Saw, which started this new genre. Even today, the movie has my favorite twist ever. Yes, even better than The Sixth Sense. I think the first 3 Saw films are really good. The Saw franchise spawned... that was me interjecting. The Saw franchise spawned 6 sequels and an attempted reboot. Don't forget, there's another film, as you know. Spiral was due this year, written by none other than comedian Chris Rock. Go figure. I do have a special place for the Saw films, although known for their elaborate traps, over-the-top gore, and twist endings. My appreciation for the series was me seeing them as psychological thrillers. Totally agree with you.
I haven't seen any of them.
But
I have a picture with James Wan.
You do. Jigsaw, we saw him at Charlie's house. Jigsaw was a fascinating character who played mind games with his victims. And also, by the way, Saw has a philosophy, not unlike Videodrome, yet not once killed any of them, so the choice was always their own. I was also happy for James Wan, who today is now a very well-respected director. I do appreciate his Conjuring and Insidious films. I think James Wan...
the Insidious films.
Right, you do.
Those are my favorite.
You love them. I think James Wan is the master of the jump scare.
Yeah.
He's really...
I'm a screamer.
Yeah, you do. Man, you scream loudly. Man, I am really rocking some 70s hair, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, sexy.
It was awesome seeing him branch out into other genres, too, with Furious 7 and Aquaman. You should watch his movie Death Sentence with Kevin Bacon. Well, allow me to conclude this letter with the following thoughts. I believe the older I get, the more mature and welcoming the horror genre has become. It feels like we both grew up together. Films in the recent years have gotten more honest and smart and thought-provoking. I'm talking those like Get Out, Us, Hereditary, Orphan, A Quiet Place, Ready or Not, and Midsummer. My beloved genre is in good hands right now, and I will continue to support it until the end of time. Philip, I too am a huge horror lover, and we are getting some great horror films, and I really appreciate that. Have you seen Martyrs?
Don't. Please do not. Don't. Don't ever. No, don't. No, you should see The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
The Autopsy of Jane Doe is great.
The Witch.
And if you watch Martyrs, don't watch the American remake. You gotta watch it. The Witch is
Don't
great.
watch The Martyr.
The Witch is great too. I love The Witch.
Yeah.
My beloved genre is in good hands right now, and I will continue to support it until the end of time. So thank you, Rob and Elizabeth, for allowing me to share my love of the horror genre. This was indeed my story to tell, and I'm grateful to the Post-Geek Singularity community for listening and welcoming me. Happy Halloween, and stay safe out there. And
Great
that comes
letter.
to us from Philip Alvarez. Philip,
Yeah.
well, I don't know. Why don't you? It's your show. What do you think about Philip's letter?
I love that letter. That was a really good letter.
Really good letter.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think that was a fantastic letter, and I have to check on something, which I realize that I don't think I fixed, and I need to fix it so we can show everybody else what we're reading. So hold, please. Let me just get where we're supposed to be. There we go.
There you go.
And we're going to see what you guys are saying. Let me go back. Oh, there's only. Yeah, we're not. Let's see.
Can they see that circle in the center of it?
No, they can't see that.
Oh.
They can't see that yet. So now they'll be able to see it. So here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
See what people are saying?
I am.
Movie Finobi is here. Movie Finobi says, "Hi Rob, congrats on the film festival start. Mistress of movies, will your stop motion movie be in the festival or for school only? Can't wait to see."
Well, no, it won't be in the festival, but it is coming. It won't be in the festival because that wouldn't be fair. I mean, I am a judge, so I don't think that I can put in a film.
For those of you who might not know, the Burnettwork is throwing the first intergalactic Imagination Connoisseurs Film Festival, and we are accepting entries until December 1st. The first official entry dropped today at 12 noon. And on the weekends, I'm going to start making 12 noon ground zero to show movies. There's one more. Our own writer, B.L. Alley, sent in a film that's actually, it's near and dear to my heart. And not to bias any of you.
You can say
not,
stuff like that.
I'm not, I'm not, no. I'm saying it's called The Trip, and it will be premiering at noon tomorrow on the Burnettwork.
Awesome.
So I don't know if B.L. Alley is here watching this, but his movie will start tomorrow, and you will see it. So it'll be the second official entry into the film festival, and it's, I mean, I'm so touched and tickled. I mean, this is something that came about on this channel because Dieter Bastian and Patrick Keller sent us a movie from Saarbrücken, Deutschland.
Yeah.
And that was what inspired the idea, and everybody's gotten behind it. And yes, don't think we've forgotten about the poster competition, because we hadn't. We just got a little behind with work. We're going to put up all the posters. All of them will be on the website to be voted on in the next couple of days. And that should be exciting as well.
And how can you vote on it?
There's going to be a poll. You can vote on
the
each.
website.
Yeah, on the website.
Ah, okay.
So you'll be able to go and vote on the posters. So that's pretty cool. Can't wait to see. Movie Finobi goes on. Steve goes on to say, he says, "Congratulations to Rob, the master of his new personal movie festival. Thanks for celebrating creativity and fun for those who might not get an opportunity. I admire you for this, as well as all the contributors and contributions. All the best. Can't wait, Steve." Well, Steve, I mean, honestly, this was something that was born out of you guys, the Post-Geek Singularity. Guys, girls, gentle beings, however you identify across the 28 known galaxies. I mean, I think one of the things about our community is this is the best community on YouTube in terms of interactivity, in terms of support. Yes, it's a little rocky sometimes. It gets a little political. But for the most part, I think that this community is a great, great, great place. And I think what's really fun for me is I just get to be the ringmaster. It's all of you, all of our audience, the Post-Geek Singularity. This film festival is going to be as good as you Imagination Connoisseurs make it. I mean, it's great. Dieter and Patrick, they weren't like filmmakers necessarily. but they went out over a weekend and they made their first film, The Secret Exchange, with Patrick's daughter Mia, and it's hilarious. It was fun, and they made a sequel. I hope they made the third part by the end of the festival. We'll see. But it was their creativity, and it might have been a weekend lark, but it was fun. And their second movie was fun too. And B.L. Alley, you'll see. I mean, he's been doing some funny stuff with effects, and his movie's fun as well. And I think you're gonna dig it. And it's like, look, there might be people, if you're intimidated and you think your movie has to be 2001 or Star Wars or Poltergeist or Nightmare on Elm Street, it does not. It doesn't. This should be fun. It should be you guys and girls and gentle beings and all of you who just have a good time.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be.
It can be simple. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Have some fun. That's what and what this is all about is having a good time. And it shouldn't be, look, not all of you are going to get a trophy. I'm going to tell you that right now. Not every kid gets a trophy here on the Robservatory. And if your film sucks, I still want to see it. And I love that you did it, and I will play it, and I will tout it, and I will treat it like every single film gets the same treatment. You're all going to get a premiere unto yourself. You're going to get a moment. You're going to get a countdown. I'm gonna tell people about it in advance. Everybody gets the same shot.
Yeah. But then on Christmas Day, starting on Christmas Day, all the films will play.
Yes, every film that we're submitted, we're gonna play again, and then our semifinalists are going to be announced, and then between Christmas and New Year's, you will be able to vote on the semifinalists. Not me, you guys, for the official Sally Field Lifetime Appreciation Award.
Right.
And they will all be on YouTube, and you can give them a like.
Yeah.
And the film that gets the most likes from all of you gets the Sally Field
So does
Lifetime.
that mean we'll do the award show on January 1st?
We're doing the award show on January 1st, yes.
Okay,
We've moved
awesome.
things. So New Year's Day is going to be our live award show.
Fun.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. And it's very iterative. It changes all the time. So, yeah. Swack Props, our man Cal is here. I got to tell you. First of all, Swack.
Oh my God.
Well, you should say it. So,
we got some packages this week.
Swack Props, Cal, as you all know, if you go to his Etsy store, his company, like you see Swack Props, he makes replicas of books and paper products from movies. And I can say that there's some of the coolest things. Like, not only does he do a phenomenal job, like if you were making props for movies, they would not be as good as Swack Props' recreations of those props.
Yeah.
The man is a master. and I have his Rorschach diary from Watchmen, and he also sent me the fact that he made the 9 Gates to the Kingdom of Heaven. Like, I can't even, the idea that there's a fan out there that would make recreations of a book from the 9th Gate, I'm like, that guy parks his shuttlecraft in my shuttle bay. So I'm like, and so he did send me that book. Amazing work. So unbeknownst to me, I got a package that I thought was actually something that I'm actually getting on Monday. I got this package and I didn't know what it was. Tell the folks at home how delighted I was when I opened that package last night.
Oh my goodness. It was one thing after another, and you were careful. You didn't even want to open some of the envelopes. You're like, oh, I can't even open this.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to rip the, and then I realized it wasn't sealed. That was Boris Balkan's check to Dean Corso.
I wanted to see the checks, and you weren't going to open it. I was like, I think that you should open it.
But then I realized it wasn't sealed.
Right.
I mean, okay, this is, if I can have an aside here. Well, why not? It's horror, so we're talking, it's horror. So I love the 9th Gate. Roman Polanski's the 9th Gate. So Cal, Swack Props, makes the book that's in that. He does all the different versions of the book. One of the things that he sent me, and this is why I love him so much. This is the geekiest shit ever. Like, you have to be deep, deep, deep. Like, you're so geeky. He made, so I get this envelope. In the movie, Frank Langella, as Boris Balkan, writes a check, or gives a check to Dean Corso, played by Johnny Depp. So Cal made it's not just the check; it's like the canceled check, and it's even the writing on the outside. Like, it's so insanely cool. I'm like, oh my god. Now, I don't know how many people would think it's as cool as I think it is, but then he sent me a map, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, the map of the Misty Mountains that, Bilbo Baggins had, but it's the Lord of the Rings version. I mean, he sent me the Lord of the Rings version because he knows that I worked on the Lord of the Rings Blu-rays or special features. He's like, well, I could have sent you the Hobbit version, but I sent you the Lord of the Rings version. So he's got a Lord of the Rings version and a Hobbit version of the same Misty Mountains thing, and
it's beautiful.
Crinkled.
It's like got some, it's the edges are all
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then he sent you
the Back to the Future sports almanac,
right.
The stuff from National Treasure. It's amazing.
Yeah, a ton of stuff.
I'm gonna show this all on the show.
You should.
I'm giving it all away now, but it's amazing. But I'm going to show it all on Robservations. So Swag Prop says, by the way, go to his Etsy store, look for Swag Prop, search it, and buy something from him because it's amazing. If you want a unique gift that people will look at you, you'll be crazy and cool at the same time.
Christmas is coming up.
Christmas is coming.
It's like perfect time.
Swag Props is your man.
Yep.
Of course, you need to give it to somebody who would appreciate.
Well, you could hint to your significant other that you want something from there too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Swag Props does say David Prowse also appeared in 2 other Hammer films, both as Frankenstein. That is true. Frankenstein's monster. It's sad to see his medical condition deteriorate over the years. Yeah, he got old like all of us. I know. Jared Snyder says, guess this is a German-speaking village in Slavic Serbia. Black Sunday in non-Slavic Moldavia, they have an Eastern Orthodox priest who should have been in Shtetl in Serbia. By the way, nice tribute to Jacques Tournay's cat people. Irina Dubrovna was Serbian. Dubrovna. And so was your dad.
Yes, my father.
Your last name?
Nikolic.
Timbula the Spider-Monk. Tim is here. I love Hammer movies, even the cheesiest of them. What are your views on the Hammer House of Horror TV show? By the way, Robert Young, who directed this movie, also directed a lot of Hammer House of Horror. I like Hammer House of Horror. It's not as good as The Twilight Zone, but there's a lot of it that I like. I think it's good. And you know what? Somebody just put it out on Blu-ray, and I need to get that. Swack Props sends in a tip and says, another one, instead of popular horror movies, how about doing an Elizaviews of one of the most underappreciated horror films in the last 20 years, Bill Paxton's directorial debut, Frailty. I could do Frailty. Of course, my ex-wife did the video box for it. So, I don't know. But it's a great movie. Mark C. Frailty's actually really, really good. That would be a movie to do on the show. But that would also be... that's a good one. That's actually a good... It's a good call. Mark C. is here. Mark C. says, if she hasn't seen it, Elizabeth needs to watch City of Lost Children, directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet. Mark Caro.
Maybe I have seen it.
Not a typical scary movie, but probably a scarier nightmare than a slasher film. I love it. Love it. Hey, Claudius is here. Look who's here, Claudius. Are you going to say bonjour?
Bonjour.
Bonjour, Elizabeth et Elizabeth.
What?
He might have met Elizabeth and Robert.
Bonsoir. Good evening.
Good evening. Bonsoir.
Yeah.
Elizabeth et...
And me. Elizabeth and Elizabeth.
Elizabeth and Elizabeth. Well, maybe it's you and your doppelganger. Candide and I just had dinner tonight with friends who work for the U.S. Secret Service, and we told them about Elizabeth's show on To Live and Die in L.A. I hope you didn't tell them that Elizabeth didn't understand that the Secret Service looked over our currency. You got schooled.
I did get schooled,
but
I
okay.
didn't know. I just
That's
thought
okay.
that the Secret Service was to protect the president.
But that's okay. You learn.
Yeah.
You learn.
I'm good with that. I learned something.
That's always good. Philip Alvarez sends in a tip and says, thank you again for reading my letter. That was a great letter, man.
Very good.
My love and passion for horror is real and true, and I would love it if you all did an Elm Street film. Well, we should do Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, I haven't seen
Nightmare on Elm Street's a seminal movie. You'll like it.
it. Okay.
It's good. BL Alley is here. He says, "Let the Right One In is great and a good reminder not to jump into the pool head first." That's the truth.
Yes.
That is the truth. Claudius goes on to say, "Secret Service. Our friends in the U.S. Secret Service wanted to tell you that Senators Lindsey Graham and your own California's Dianne Feinstein have introduced legislation to move the U.S. Secret Service from the Department of Homeland Defense back to the Treasury Department." Well, by God, they should. They should. Treasury, I mean, come on, man. They gotta, I mean, hey, Candida's here. Why do you have to mess with perfection? Candida says, "Hola, amigos. ¿Cómo está voce? ¿Cómo está você?" Hola, amigos. ¿Cómo está você? Have you guys considered a Zoom Halloween party? Ooh, we should. That's a great, only if you're going to be there.
Oh, can we wear masks and stuff?
Oh my God. Candida, this is a great idea, but you have to be there. We'll all, you and Claude will co-host with us a Zoom Halloween party. That is the dopest idea I've heard all week.
That is so good.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I hadn't
have to
told you
dress
before.
up. It'd be great.
No, we have to be
Everybody
in
dress
costume.
up. Yeah.
Everybody's in costume. We are totally doing that. That is the greatest idea ever, which shouldn't surprise me coming from the first couple of the Burnettwork. Claude and Candida are the official first couple, the same way that Kaz Graphics is our cheesemonger. Well, Carmelo was our official father, but he passed away. I don't mean to be morose. Mark C is our official toxic fan, even though not really. But I like having a toxic fan.
He calls himself that, so
yes,
it's
he's
okay to call him that.
But he's also a very learned, thoughtful person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of ironic, don't you think?
Don't you think?
Okay, it's good. Anyway.
You didn't finish her.
Anyway, apologies if you have. We would love to attend. I want to do a Jane Austen period costume. Claudius wants to do Star Trek. And what about Spencer, yo? What's up? Come on. It's got to be a family affair. You know what? We are going to do that. We're going to plan this. We are going to have a Zoom Halloween party. What a great idea.
I'm trying to think. What's my costume going to be?
Man, I don't know. Wow.
I want to be Black Phillip.
That's awesome.
But I don't know how I would do that.
Well, that's therein lies the creativity that Halloween inspires in many.
We'll see. I have other ideas too.
This is a great, okay. We're going to call it Candida and Claude's creepy
Halloween extravaganza.
No, it's got to be, we got to come up with a good name. Some crazy name.
Something crazy.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
The Horror Emporium.
We have to have, you guys have to send us, what I need from you, Claude and Candida, is a picture, a scary picture that we can use as like the poster or the image to sell this idea.
Oh, yeah.
To promote it. I need a Claude and Candida promotional photo that, since it's your idea, I leave it up to you guys. You, our favorite first couple, has to come up with a picture. It could just be a single image of the two of you that will entice people to come to the very first Burnettwork Zoom Halloween party. Mm-hmm. What a great idea this is.
So good.
You know what, Claude? You married well, sir. Nicely done. Nicely done. So we're into that. Tim is here. Timbula, the Spider Monkey, says, "Laugh out loud. That's why I brought it up. I just got the Blu-ray of Hammer House of Horror, fairly bare-boned, but it has the show, and that's all I wanted." Yeah, me too. I haven't ordered that. I need to get it. I have to tell you, I mean, the last 6 months, quarantine has been a bevy of, there's been a bounty of great physical media, and that's one of them. I need to get that. Well, Elizabeth, we are 15 minutes over time.
Oh, no.
So that brings us to the end of this show. Now that we now, all of you, the film festival is going on. BL Alley's movie premieres at noon tomorrow Pacific time. And Claude and Candida are apparently going to be your impresarios of the Robservations, the Burnettwork Halloween Zoom party,
Yes.
which I don't want to interfere with anyone's Halloween party events, but I think we'll say, I don't know what date, let's call it right now. Let's find out what day, and let's pick a day. Let's see. Let's see when the Robservations, we don't want to interfere with everybody else's Halloween parties because, people have Halloween parties. All right. So.
They do?
Yeah. Halloween actually takes place on a Saturday.
Whoa.
So that frees us up. So when our Halloween Zoom party is going to be? Saturday the 24th.
Perfect.
So that's it. Claude, Candida, clear your schedules. So the Burnettwork Halloween Zoom party, and by the way, costumes are mandatory. If you want into the
don't
Zoom,
say mandatory. Really?
yes.
Okay.
This is a Halloween party. If you don't wear a costume, you don't get it. And by the way, you don't have to wear a costume. It just has to be your face.
Yeah, just your face.
Just your face. So if you don't want to wear a costume, you can be stark naked, but as long as your face has something on it. Costumes are mandatory. So on Saturday the 24th, I'll do Robservations. So we will start the party at 4 o'clock. No, we'll do it at 5. No, we'll do it earlier, so people around the world.
But are we not going to do a show that night?
No, that'll be our show.
The party.
Yeah, the party. It'll be a.
But then there's less. Then we'll have less movies.
Yeah, but maybe we can or we can do the Zoom party, because the Zoom party will go from like 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock or something, and then we'll do the show.
It was smashed.
Yeah, it'll be a smashed show.
Oh, our smashed
So
shows get pretty crazy.
They get pretty crazy. So that's what we're gonna do. So because of Candida's great idea. See, this is why I love this channel. It's very iterative. That we just, hey, let's have a film festival. Okay, let's have a Zoom Halloween party. Done. So the Zoom,
Done.
the Robservations Burnettwork Zoom Halloween party.
And if we can still talk,
yeah,
without slurring,
yeah.
we'll do a
We'll
movie
do a show.
review.
It is going to be October 24th at 4 o'clock Pacific time. I don't know if.
I have to see if how late I'm working that day.
No, you gotta. Nope.
I gotta make sure
You gotta make sure you're not working
that.
Yeah. Or you can show up later. I'll start the Zoom party.
That's true. I
Yeah,
don't have
yeah.
to be
If you have to
there
work,
right away.
So that's the deal. There it is. October 24th, Zoom Halloween party. There you go. That's a great idea. So there you go.
There you go.
All right, done.
Just like that. Thanks, Candida.
But I have to. I don't know. Hang on a second. I have another question. When does daylight savings time end?
Why does that matter?
I guess it doesn't matter. Because it's not, I was going to say Pacific. It doesn't matter. 4 o'clock West Coast time. There you go. Because if it's not Pacific Daylight Time, it doesn't matter. 4 o'clock. We'll figure it out.
But the whole country changes.
Yeah, but we're
clocks.
talking worldwide. So.
Oh.
It does,
yeah,
well,
but most of the world.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. So Elizabeth, on our bottoms-up scale on
Yes.
Vampire Circus, on a scale of 1 to 4, why do we have 1 to 4 glasses of wine?
It's 1 to 4 glasses because there are 4 glasses in a bottle.
4 glasses in a bottle. So I ask you, your first Hammer horror film, how did you feel about Hammer's 1972 Vampire Circus?
I thought it was charming and fun, and I'm going to give it 3 glasses of wine.
That's once again, we are in agreement. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
I give it 3 glasses as well. And when we say it, on this channel, the idea is authorship. Did the filmmakers succeed in accomplishing what they set out to do? So it's not like, if we say something is 4 stars, I mean, Lawrence of Arabia is 4 stars, Godfather is 4 stars, but then I would say a movie like, I don't know, something that can also be 4 stars because it's what they tried to do. I think that Vampire Circus was rather successful in what they tried to do, so 3 stars it is.
3 stars. 3 glasses of wine.
Pardon me. Did I say stars? Yes.
You did.
Three
say
glasses
stars.
of wine.
3
I
glasses of
apologize.
wine.
I apologize for that. 3 glasses
So
of wine.
what is our next?
It's Black Sunday. Is our next
Okay.
movie. Mario Bava's Black Sunday is our next film. From the early 60s, black and white. It's lyrical. It's a period piece. It's a fantastic, fantastic movie. If you have not seen it, everybody should.
I think we should alternate newer films and older films.
Okay, but we already said we're doing
Right,
Black
okay.
Sunday, so we'll do that. We'll
Well,
alternate
let's
that.
sit down
And then
tonight
let's
and
say
make our
let's call it now in honor of Philip Alvarez's fantastic letter. Let's make Wednesday Nightmare on Elm Street,
Okay.
the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
So, Black Sunday is going to be Monday. A Nightmare on Elm Street is going to be Wednesday.
Right.
And on Saturday, a week from today, do you have a romantic? You know what we should do on Saturday?
What?
The Hunger. David Bowie and Catherine Deneuve.
Okay, but you're picking all the movies.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But that's fine.
You should pick The Hunger for Romantic Saturday.
I don't think I've seen it.
All the better. It's another vampire movie, but it's a romance.
But you're picking all the movies. We need to sit down.
Look, man,
and
you
make a
haven't
schedule.
seen Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, I don't trust you to pick films. You haven't seen, like, you're like, we have to have a modern film and a classic movie, and I'm like, okay, what movie should we have?
Well, I mentioned a couple. I mentioned several.
It is your show. I can't. Your vote is final.
That's fine. This week is fine. We will discuss the rest of the month.
Well, you don't have to do The Hunger, but The Hunger is amazing. You will love The Hunger.
Okay.
By the way, I have a giant poster of French Les Prédateurs is
I'm
what
not
it was
surprised.
called. It's great. It's one of the coolest movie posters ever.
That's why it's put away up in the attic.
It's not framed. It's Lindenback. It's not framed.
All right.
So take us out.
Everyone you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear, and all you have to do is listen. You were
Shit.
slow.
I was slow. I didn't do it. Shit.
Where were you?
I don't know. Raygun Media, Jason Spriggs. Can I say Jason? Jason says we should do The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover. Not horror per se, but gruesome. Have you ever seen The Cook,
No.
the Thief? I wouldn't imagine you would. There's peen in that movie.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's
like when there's
dead
peen.
peen though.
Ew.
Yeah, there's
Gross.
a guy they eat, and he's on a tail.
Okay. Enough.
It's really good though. Yeah. Just saying.
I don't like human eating movies.
Channel says it's her show, dude. You have to trust her to pick the movies. Channels might be correct.
Thank you.
Might be correct. It is your show. But if you haven't seen Nightmare on Elm Street, your judgment's suspect.
Oh, come on. The ones I've mentioned you like.
No, they're good. I mean, I like Autopsy of Jane Doe.
So good.
So good. I mean, Autopsy of Jane Doe is one of my favorite horror films of the last 2
One
decades.
of my favorites too.
It's really good.
The Witch.
The Witch is really good too. I love The Witch.
Swedish horror film, the vampire one.
Let the Right One In.
I remember the name.
Let the Right One In. It's good.
See, I picked good ones.
Yeah, those are all very good. Those are good. Cheers to you. Cheers to your choices.
I would pick Insidious, but I'm not sure everyone likes that movie.
Insidious is great. It was James Wan going back and making a sub-$1 million movie and crushing it. Insidious is great.
Yeah.
So good. Well, I think we should end this show.
Okay, let's end it.
Well, you have to end it.
I did.
Did you say have a good night?
No, have a better night.
How abrupt of you. Like, lead up to it. Thank you all for being here. I would like to thank our moderating staff. The Richard is here. Mr. Derringer is here. I think that's it. I want to thank them, and also go find the Richard over at the Post-Geek Singularity Facebook page. He's always having Zoom parties, and now he knows he can tout the fact that we are having a Zoom Halloween party on October 24th, beginning at 4 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time, and it is because we know Roberto Suarez will probably set that up, maybe, or the Richard, but you don't get in unless you have and all you have to do is have a face mask. You don't even have to have a full body thing going.
Just put some charcoal under your eyes like a football player.
Yeah, although the more clever, You know what?
Oh, there'll be a...
We're going to give awards. We're giving awards. Candida and Claude's party. So Candida and Claude and Elizabeth and I are going to be the judges of this. We're going to have a Halloween party, a facial costume contest. So it's only your face. You don't, because that's kind of cool because it's Zoom.
Right.
So it wouldn't be good if we had a full. So it's just your face.
Just your
and
face.
And we're gonna have the. I guess we can't call it a facial because people might get the wrong idea. But I've never liked that. I'm like, what's the appeal? But unless you're with somebody that is appealing for them. But
okay.
I think that it's going to be a, what are we going to call it? The Visage Award, something like some kind of. We'll give out an award. We'll have a prize. We'll give out an award.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right then.
Look, Philip Alvarez loves Insidious.
Okay, he loves
so
Insidious.
I'm going to pick Insidious for one of these days.
Ooh. Elizabeth used episode 1. That's right, we did Videodrome.
Yes, we did.
That's so funny.
Yes,
that was our first episode.
That was our first? Really?
I don't know. I mean, episode 1.
I don't think that was our first, was it?
Oh, Richard's saying it was. We can go look.
Wow, that was our first movie? What a strange pick for our first movie.
Hey, BL Alley is here. Maybe he was watching. Does he know that?
He was watching.
So he knows that tomorrow his movie is debuting at noon?
Yes, he knows.
It gets a countdown? He knows that?
Yeah.
You get a countdown, brother.
I don't know what you did to the chat, but I can't see it now.
I don't know what's happening.
Why do you always do that? Oh, that's much better.
Oh.
Aww.
There we go.
There.
Oh.
Aren't we ending?
Yeah, we're supposed to end. We're ending. So, thank you all. BL Alley's movie, The Trip, debuts. It is our second official entry into the first annual Intergalactic Imagination Connoisseurs Film Festival. That will be at noon tomorrow. Robservations will come at you at 2 o'clock. And there you go.
And there you go.
So we now have a horse race. Maybe there's only ever going to be 2 films that we get, but at least we have 2 films. And
I think we're going to get more than 2 films.
Well, we might, but
if we got 2 films right up front at the very beginning.
There is we haven't announced it yet, but there is a cash prize worth hundreds of dollars for best special effects.
Yes.
And I will say this, that of the 2 films that we've received, BL Alley's is...
I haven't seen it.
Oh, well,
I'll see it at the premiere.
BL Alley's the front runner now for special effects.
Do we get, is there a red carpet?
No, there's no. There's on New Year's Day. Well, we'll make a virtual red carpet. We'll do something.
The awards show is going to be spectacular.
It is going to be spectacular. We have a very special guest who you've seen.
Yeah.
If you watch our show, you've seen this person before. As a matter of fact, you might even be seeing them right now if you really look closely.
Oh, don't give it away.
I'm not giving it away.
But Rob and I will be dressed.
Yeah, we will be dressed. I'm gonna wear a tux.
And I'll be wearing a gown.
Yes, it'll be great. So that's going to happen on New Year's Day.
A gown. I said gown.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gentle beings from across the 28 known galaxies, however you identify, we're bringing this stream to an end because we've dragged it out long enough. Thanks for joining us. And remember, Mario Bava's Black Sunday, a.k.a. Mask of the Demon, will be happening on Monday night. Oh, Raygun Media says we're shooting November 1st. Hey, you know what? Talk is cheap, buddy. I don't want to hear about anybody's, our start dates are this. You know what I want to see? Results.
November 1st? Well, that only gives you a month to edit.
Although I do think Raygun Media, I think I'll be very... They aren't messing around over there.
No, I don't think
down
they
there. Yeah. So I think Raygun Media is gonna bring the noise.
Yes.
As it were.
I'm excited.
So I look forward to seeing. By the way, the General, the General Prisoner Wednesday, my channel. Just so you know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gentle beings across the 28 known galaxies. I'm going to bring an end to this stream finally. Thanks very much for all of your support. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for indulging the most self-indulgent YouTube channel on YouTube. So, there you go.
There you go.
Have a good evening.
Have a better night.